All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be here with you, and I'm glad that each and every morning we have a different, brand new, fun, exciting technical difficulty. If I was to keep track of all the technical difficulties that we could have, or if I was a secret agent, let's say, working in a cave in some far off country, and I wanted to kind of put a spoke in the wheels of the show somehow behind the scenes, there'd be so many little sticks I could put in so many different wheels. I would think that it's really interesting. Now, the only reason I think of that is because I don't know how in the world just one morning can't go without one little thing happening, because there's so many variables. A refresh here, or a restart there, or a whole unplugging and plugging back in, and logging out and logging back in, or so many things. And so I apologize for a little bit of the discombobulated beginning to the show. For those on Facebook Live, on the radio would have been just a little bit of dead air, and then some kind of weird sound effects coming in. But hey, we're here. It's a miracle. It is Sudbury News Talk live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. We're streaming live, cklu.ca. You just click on the Radio Player Canada logo and you can stream us. You can also download the same Radio Player Canada app and take us with you anywhere, anytime, and listen to us on your favorite device. Also, other programming from CKLU. You can look at the shows on the schedule at cklu.ca. We're also streaming live, as I said, on Facebook Live at facebook.com/Sudbury News and youtube.com/Sudbury News. Grateful to the platforms, because we wouldn't be able to do this show without them. We're grateful for you being able to like, share, subscribe, follow, and all that stuff. We really appreciate that. We appreciate the little community that we're developing here. And each and every morning, I look forward to all of our conversations on the news. This is News and Views, Sudbury News and Views, where we share our views on the news and issues that impact us here locally and abroad. So if you are joining us from around the world, and maybe not even just the region, because we do have a lot of people coming in from the Manitoulin area, the North Shore, or Ontario in general, Northern Ontario, but also the rest of Canada, the United States, the world. So thanks for joining in. Maybe it's because you're from Sudbury, or you lived in Sudbury at some point, you're just checking in, or you just appreciate the conversation and the content that we have each and every morning. Whatever it is, welcome. We're thankful to have you. And being thankful for having somebody, I just wanted to segue nicely into a Nick who's joining us. We haven't seen a Nick in quite some time, but good morning, and how have you been, Nick?
Good morning. I know it's been a hot minute, Aaron. I've missed the show. I've missed the people, and I'm super excited to be here today. Things, well, they've been a little rocky for your girl here, but there's a lot of news to talk about, so let's go to that.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I think it's been rocky I think life is rocky in general for most of us. So thanks for that. Thanks for being with us. And speaking of people being with us, our comments are working today. They weren't working on our last show. We did not have a show yesterday. I had to head down to Toronto, and if I would have did the show maybe a half an hour earlier, got on, it could have been done, but I just made the executive decision because of timing to not go ahead with it. Anyway, so we are back. We got tons of news stories that are piled up. Good morning, Vin. Thanks for the welcome back. I really appreciate that. Judy, good morning. Thank you for doing the show. Really enjoy it. Thank you very much for being here. Monique, good morning, everyone. All these smiley emojis and things. Appreciate it. Monique, good rising. That's awesome. Randy, good morning. Hope you're having a fabulous Friday. Stay safe as usual. David, thanks. Good morning to you as well. Denise, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being with us. And good morning. Nothing changes if nothing changes. There's Belinda's saying of the day. Much appreciated. And that's true. It's kind of like my saying, it is what it is. Nothing changes if nothing changes. It's kind of self-explanatory and true. Denise, good morning from Espanola. Speaking of the North Shore and people joining us each and every day. Danica, good morning. Happy Friday to everyone. Heart emoji, much appreciated. Such is life, filled with variables. Take them as they come. Yes, exactly. And Shirley's joining us here. You have to give us a lot of nothing before the news. Oh, sorry about that. I guess, yeah, we do have some of our critics as well. We appreciate you, though. And we're just kind of chiming in and kind of getting acquainted with everybody who joins us each and every morning, saying good morning and making sure we all have a chance to kind of have our voices heard. Good morning, Monique. It is kind of a little bit of a ritual on the show. If too many people oppose it or whatever, or it just seems like it's not cool, we'll maybe change things later in the future. Good morning, Jerome. Sudbury News Army will appreciate that. And Norm, good morning. Good morning, Norm. And let's get right into it because Shirley's waiting for the news and all that stuff. So we'll be right back after the weather, right after this. And Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently it's 11 degrees. And it's partly cloudy, and today we can expect clearing this afternoon and a high of 22, UV index 7 or high. Tonight, clear and the wind will be light early this morning. Those darn wind predictions just get me every time. Low of 11, Saturday, sunny, high of 23, the UV index 8 or high. And then, like we said, sunny 23 tomorrow. Go figure, this is your long range. 30% chance of showers on Sunday and high of 26. And Monday is mix of sun and cloud, 25. Mix of sun and cloud for Tuesday and Wednesday as well, 28 and degrees high. And then sunny and 29. Look at that. Fantabulous looking week forecasted so far. And look at your satellite, and that's a lot of the clear skies that we see. A little bit of activity in terms of clouds over Sudbury, but that's going to dissipate later on. And we're thankful for the sun, and we're grateful for the little bit of the rain that we had helped with some of the fires. And that is your Sudbury weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Lands on our Sudbury.news website, and we'll be back with a little bit of sports. All the headlines and stuff to keep things rolling for Shirley. We'll be back right after this. All right, and Sudbury Sports brought to you by that Sudbury Sports guy's website. He's Randy Pascal. His website is sudburysports.com. Sudbury Spartans under 16 and men's team set for doubleheader tomorrow versus North Bay. So the under 16 Spartans and the men's team Spartans are gearing up for a doubleheader against North Bay Saturday. The Bulldogs kickoff is set for 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. respectively on the 17th on James Jerome Field, and that is the under 16 have been unstoppable on the football field, consistently finding the end zone in their recent games. the under-16 squad has exhibited a dynamic offense, scoring touchdowns with explosive runs and precise passing plays. Meanwhile, the men's team have demonstrated their offensive prowess, though through a balanced attack, utilizing both the running game and the aerial strikes to put points on the board. Now, this is directly from the Sudbury Wolves Sports and Entertainment Group, hence the wording. I normally wouldn't word things this way, but it's very dramatic. I like it. Sudbury Spartans are also proud to honor the newest members of the Sudbury Hard Rocks Sudbury Spartans NFC Hall of Fame on Saturday. Defensive tackle Paul Zulich gave his all to the football club during and following his playing career. Paul Zulich was a key member of the Spartans that led the team to 3 NFC championship titles, 82, 85, and 87. So he was also named the NFC All-Star Team for defensive tackle in 1982. Thank you for everything you have done for the Spartans. The Spartans proudly acknowledge Technica Mining and Anmar Mechanical as the sponsors for the season. Tickets can be purchased at the gate for $10, while children under 12 enjoy the game entirely for free. Stay connected with all the latest news and updates from the Sudbury Spartans by following their official social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or by visiting their website, sudburyspartans.com. That is your sports, brought to you by that Sudbury sports guy, Randy Pascal, and his website, sudburysports.com. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and Nick, and much, much more right after this. All right, we're here with Nick and all of your comments, and you're all on here. We had a great little bunch on this Friday, June the 16th. I'll never forget that date. We're almost at the solstice, the summer solstice. Oh, Shirley says goodbye. We'll put
the radio on.
Put the radio on. Okay, sounds good. 96.7, Vin says. And Monique is crying. All right. Remember, we are in the age of instant gratitude. And anything less, and people get impatient. I'm not a big fan of the 21st century attitudes. Okay, well, we live in a debt-based society. Receive first, then work for it later mentality. I agree.
True.
It's easier to mock them. It's easier to mock them to do when you do nothing. Okay? Did I read that correctly?
I think so.
Okay. Just want to make sure. It's hard when you're on the fly reading comments, and I don't know, it's hard commenting too quickly because it doesn't always translate into, things that could be read exactly on the air. But we do our best here. And for Shirley, I think it's the first time that I've seen her on, and hopefully she is going to listen to the radio. Maybe she's just trying to get some weather real quick before work, and she's going to listen while she heads to work on the radio. Sarah says, good morning. Good morning, Sarah. Thanks for joining us. And Rob shared a YouTube video here about a COVID-19 lawsuit in Germany. So if you guys want to check that out, really appreciate all of your comments and sharing all of the information to keep us up to date on what's going on in the world. You guys are amazing to be able to do that. And that's what this show is for. It's to kind of share information, share our views, and learn a lot more about our world. Go ahead,
Yes.
Nick.
Oh, I was going to say ignore that comment because I just responded to Sarah because Sarah, I had a bit of difficulties with my vehicle and I don't have a vehicle right now, and Sarah's going to be picking me up in town today. So, and she's watching.
Oh.
So hi, Sarah.
Shout out for Sarah. Thank you very much for doing that.
Yeah.
It's always great to have a great friend to be able to help us when we're kind of down and out, or we have a need like that. And definitely, yeah, you definitely need a vehicle, and that's a hard thing to navigate around for sure. There's so many stories here, Nick. Let's just kind of go through them.
Okay.
We'll do our best. I have the stories in various screens around me. And Mona says good morning, so I want to welcome you. Good morning, Mona. And we're jumping right into things here. Sudbury to hold leadership summit on opioid epidemic. Two totally different things. Council voted to create a local leadership conference to address the issues of the opioid epidemic in Sudbury after a presentation by Ontario's chief coroner. As we heard from Mike Perrinot, who is Sudbury's Ward 5 councillor. He's on the show twice in the last week and a half. And in the second, he actually sat on the federal commission or committee about this. And so he said that Sudbury's numbers, for some reason, are going up while other communities are going down with opioid-related deaths. And we were talking about maybe some of the reasons behind that or what's going on and what we're doing to handle these things. But I guess this will hopefully help in some way, shape, or form. I know I have the story here somewhere. It's, again, I have two screens going on. Let's see if it's on this one. And...
Is it the community summit plan for opioid toxicity crisis in Sudbury, like how they're planning to vote on the motion? No, it's not. We're not.
I don't know. And it was here. I had it. Oh, here it is. Yeah. When introducing Dr. Dirk Hurer, Ontario's chief coroner, that's the way I'm pronouncing his name, to council on June the 13th, Ward 6 councillor Renee Lapierre quoted Provincial Labour Minister Monte McNaughton as he spoke of the effects of opioids in the province, Ontario. This is Lapierre talking. Ontario is in the middle of an opioid epidemic, and every one of these deaths is preventable. Lapierre told the councillors that invited Huyer to speak on the opioid crisis after he saw a need to think outside the box, to go beyond anti-stigma campaign, awareness and education. What do they call it? Naloxone? The distribution there, naloxone, is the thing that they give them to kind of revive them. Drug warnings, supervised consumption sites, accessible treatment, proactive informed enforcement, and more. He said Sudbury, along with other northern communities, continue to experience alarmingly high and raising rates that are triple those from our southern counterparts. See, that's the thing that boggles my mind. Our rates are triple than the south, which doesn't make any sense to me.
And there's tons more population over there.
Yeah, maybe that's a part of it, possibly, because they have way more people in the... No, it's the amount of people. Yeah, exactly. It's not just the ratio, it's the amount of people. Lapierre put forward a motion to hold a local leadership summit on the opioid crisis. With a look to October to hold the conference, the executive committee of the Community Drug Strategy for the City of Greater Sudbury has also strongly endorsed the need for a local leadership summit on the escalating drug toxicity crisis. And I hope, again, we talked a lot about harm reduction, which is the way the federal government is going, and that's to help people take clean drugs in a safe place. Harm reduction. And then there's the other side of it, which a lot more of the conservative end of things looks at rehabilitation, like the rehabilitation of the individual. So one is harm reduction, just allow the people to take clean drugs in a safe place, and that's the focus. Sure, that's good. And then the other side of it is, well, can we take that further? Can we help people take clean drugs in a safe place, but also at the same time, look at the individual as a person and a human being, and look at them as the way they might have used to be or the way they could be if they weren't addicted to these devastating substances, right? And help rehabilitate them.
Mind-blowing that we're not having a conversation about a facility or a retreat or an area where people can go to get help. So it's just mind-blowing to me that this is not part of the conversation. Like, let's organize and spend tons of money, Aaron, on a summit, on a day where we can talk about what we can do and think outside the box. But I've not heard one time that we need a treatment facility here. We need a space for people to go as they are. Not either sober or not high, as all these facilities are full. If you go to Elliott Lakes, it's months and months and months of waiting. But we're not talking about that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was thinking too. It's just a big rehabilitation center that really focuses on the individual in a caring manner. And sure, it's okay to care. Sure, not dying is a good start. Like help somebody who's struggling not to die. That's great. Okay, but then what about, sure, the body is one thing. They're helping their body not die, but what about their spirit and their mind?
Yeah.
And their,
Exactly.
Yeah, what about that? That's
where's this
dying too.
conversation?
Exactly.
Exactly.
So
why aren't we having a conversation? Why don't we have a facility that every Tuesday it's like AA? You're a drug user, you're anything. You could come here. There's going to be snacks. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to have a drum ceremony.
Circle.
We're going to have prayer. We're going to have different things. We're going to have an art activity. It's not that difficult for me to think, because we were doing it at the homeless center that they shut down, and people were transforming their lives. You know why? Because we knew their name. We knew their story. And they were actual beings. They weren't just a number that came to the clinic to get clean needles and pushed away.
Definitely. Huge issue. I know Vin is saying shout out to all the grad students. Congratulations. It is that time of year. It's grad season. It's pretty much the, June 16th. That's and yes, hard work to graduate. It's awesome. Now, I didn't mean to derail you. I'm just getting to the comments, and the comments are going to come back. So Belinda is saying, drove downtown Sudbury this week and was shocked by the number of people who need help. Sudbury needs to make this a priority. It's very heartbreaking. And then Denise says, people won't wake up and say, I'm going to be a drug addict. They have to, no future and no homes, no legacies.
Exactly. So this treatment center that I would love to be part of, these people could have a job. They could get promoted. They've been to so many classes. They get a coin. You have to make them feel valued. And that's the problem. They think that there's no future, but there's a future for absolutely everybody. And if these knew people to do the same thing, we can have a really good conversation, and we could have a really beautiful community together.
For sure. And also, Stephen was pointing out the numbers come.
Stephen saying, but you can't do that. Right, go ahead.
Well, the numbers are per 100,000, basically. That's when we're wondering where the numbers came from. And it's out of every 100,000 people, how many opioid deaths are from that. That's where they're getting the numbers. And that's how they're compared from Northern Ontario to Southern Ontario. Jerome saying, about Bill C-51, we best start a conversation. There's so many bills coming out. There's so much going on. I don't know. I've never seen so many bills being passed in my life so fast, so focused on, you can almost see where it's going if you want to connect some dots. Is it maybe because some addicts have immigrated here from the South? And I would think yes, would be my take on that, possibly. Justin Trudeau, he's upset. Okay. His past life is brought up from high school in the sex scandal. Okay, YouTube video there from Rob. We talked about that on the show the other day. As I said, I wasn't sure. I never really heard much about it. I heard a little bit that there was a sex scandal and he had to leave halfway through the semester or something when he was a part-time drama teacher at a private school. That was his position before getting into politics. And so now back to Stephen's comment about the 10 deaths in the city of 1 million equals 1 death in a city of 100,000. Getting the numbers there. As though it's become normalized, I saw the same thing last month. Drove through downtown with minimum 2 people under the influence per block. That was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, let's keep promoting the downtown area, investing in the downtown. Yeah.
You have some people agreeing with your comments there, Nick. So Lise
Stephen
and
said,
Nick.
with my idea, but you can't do all that unless that life is saved. But that's backwards, because it actually saves people. Because if people have a place to go, and
that's
eat,
my point. But my point was, no, you do need to keep them alive. The body needs to be kept alive so that way, and then you can do all these things. If they're dead, not so great having craft night. You know what I mean? it wouldn't really work.
I know,
you know what
but
I mean,
them
right?
having craft night,
yeah.
they may have a different perspective. They might have a different mindset that the day after craft night, they end up doing less drugs or they make better decisions.
No, and I think they need to work hand in hand. I think you need to keep them alive. This is the harm reduction, but you don't just stop there. And I think our government is just stopping at the harm reduction and they're not moving on to other things. There's so many great comments coming in here and I'm not going to be able to get to them all. Oh my goodness. But I'll get them up on the screen. So those will benefit those that are on the Facebook Live for sure, because they'll be able to read the comment in general, just themselves.
Okay, exactly what Denise just said. This is a comment I want to say.
Okay.
People who've done harm reduction and gone on to that other medication are still on it 10 years later, Aaron.
The methadone.
There's something wrong. It's not really doing its job. And these people want to get off methadone, and there's no support to even get off methadone.
Yeah, so what drug are we using? What drug are we using to get off methadone now? You know what I mean? Like, sure, you got off OxyContin or you're off whatever you are. You're on methadone now, but what's the drug we're taking to get off methadone? You know what I mean? Like, it just stops.
I have the best drug for them.
What's that?
The best drug. Jesus.
There you go. And I would agree with you on that one. And because it brings empowerment to you and helps you to realize that anything is possible and you have the power to do it. You don't need a drug per se. Maybe you need it for a while, but that's all. You shouldn't need it for the rest of your life. You should understand that you can, maybe you need a little bit of help for a while, but then you do have the power inside you, as every individual does if they have the right support and coaching and support system around them, to be able to get through things and use tools. Like Jagmeet Singh has a lot of tools. Well, we all have tools in our toolbox to help our own individual choices in our lives, to help us to be self-reliant in so many ways. And there are a lot of things against a lot of people out here. They're
lacking love. And that's what they need, is love, and to realize that they are loved and cared for, and there's someone that really loves them.
And anyway. That's all you need, according to the Beatles. So there you go. All you need is love.
Okay. Should we talk about something else that's going on? Because there's so much going on.
This could be a black hole for the whole show. Now, again, it is very important, and I don't want to undermine or demean how important that actually is. And look at this. Fentanyl dealer from Southern Ontario to be sentenced in Sudbury. So the Crown and defense are far apart on what his sentence should be. That's coming from the Sudbury Star. So obviously not helping the opioid crisis here in Sudbury. But what are we doing to actually stop the drugs from coming in, the street drugs, right? What are we doing to stop that? That's what I'd like to know. What are the initiatives that our governments are doing and our law enforcement to stop the drugs from coming in? Where are they coming from? Who are manufacturing them? Who are distributing them? They have to come across somewhere to come into the country. Now, I have already done deep dives on this, and I already know a lot of the answers to these things. But
this guy is not even in custody. Aaron, he's not even in custody, and he got caught with this should be murder. This should be a murder charge, and he should be in prison. If you are caught with a murder weapon, you should be in jail. Because Nick, guys, went 40 over in a 50 zone, lost her license for 30 days right off the bat. Right off the bat, I cannot get my van for 30 days, Aaron. 30 days right off the bat. I don't even get a chance to talk about. I'm a single mom. I work. No chance. Zero chance. But this guy's going to get caught with this on him, murder weapon, and he is not sentenced. How does that make any sense?
Well, I like the fact that you just revealed that you went that fast in a.
But it's ridiculous, Aaron. I was thinking about it. Mm-hmm. If a single mom who had 2 jobs, who was in my situation, who had no support, she would end up possibly doing drugs. She might end up taking her life because she has no support. She can't go to work. She can't pay her bills. That will go in a spiral. The system is completely backwards. There's nobody I can talk to get my vehicle back. Hence why Sarah's driving, picking me up. Yeah, zero chance. You don't. And now your van's impounded. It's a murder weapon, and he's not even in custody. This is disgusting.
There's a lot of things that aren't 100% black and white and great about our system for sure. Now I just lost all of our likes and emojis for some reason out of our comment section. Maybe we're blowing up the comment section because we have so many comments today. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, no, things are backwards in a lot of ways, and that's the problem. Some people say we're getting more and more divided on that too, right? Do we have more mercy for people? Who do we have mercy for? Who do we have justice for? You know, if you would have just looked at the way laws were and kind of just tweaked them a little bit on the way we were going for years and years and years, things would have been taken care of. But I think people are trying to make drastic changes.
Yes.
For too
so
fast.
Vin says, I love you, dude, but he's saying make the free drugs mobile rather than each day. Have them spend time thinking about how far they must travel to be an addict.
That's interesting.
Oh,
yeah, you
I
got
thought you were
free
saying
drugs.
Make the drugs free.
Well, no, but they are right now, right? So just to have them like maybe one day they're in Lively and they have to go to Lively. And then one day they're in Capriel and they got to make the trip. So work hard for like you got to kind of work just to get to them. And while you're doing that, you're like, why am I going through all this hassle to go get these drugs? Like maybe I can go one day without them. That's a little far. And then they start thinking a little bit outside the box. But that's one great brainstorming example. And there's nothing wrong with brainstorming ideas, other than just doing what we're doing the same thing over and over, getting the same results. And we've cut out a couple times today as well. So, okay. So you never know. Glitches all over the place. Thanks for letting me know, Vin.
And Stephen, it's true. Steven says, it's true that spiral is real. Now compound it with a fall at work that results in a pain pill prescription, and then the doctor cuts you off. Yeah, this person might be on pain medication, and now she can't even go to the pharmacy to get her pain pills, but now she can call a dealer to come and get some different type of pain pills. Now she's addicted. Now she has 2 kids that get taken away from her. The spiral is real. There is no compassion in our society. It should be case per case. But if you hold a murder weapon,
as in this case with this Southern Ontario person, exactly. Yeah,
you should go to jail. Like
crazy.
Anyway,
Jerome's talking about Bill C-51 again, so we may want to. Will ensure the chemical slavery being perpetrated upon us. Things like essential oils will be banned. You got to be kidding me. We got to look into this Bill C-51.
They're trying to ban like homeopathy.
Homeopathy. They're trying to ban homeopathy. It's very dangerous. Homeopathy. I mean, whoa. That's one of the most dangerous things out there.
People opioids. That hasn't been a problem.
Keep them on methadone all the time, but those little wee sugar pills that you take from homeopathy need to be banned for sure. It's an interesting world we're in. We're trying to make sense of this world in this conversation. We won't. One show or 1 week or 1 year or 1 hour a day, 5 days a week is not going to do it. But we're supposed to at least have a place to gather, have a conversation and move on and kind of learn these things for ourselves now.
Talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again, Jerome, for that. Bill C-51. We'll have to look into that. That sounds like all these bills being passed make no sense whatsoever. You'd think it was almost on purpose to deconstruct a pretty great country that we've had for so many years. Now my computer's going to have to be restarted over here. So next story, Nick, do you want to take it away? The Sudbury Market offers local products and food, which is pretty awesome. Sudbury Star, local products. This is the way to get her done.
Yeah. So the Sudbury Market is at the south parking lot of the corner of York Street and Paris Street on Thursday from 2 to 6 at the Elgin Street location via rail on Saturday from 9 to 2 p.m. So that's really exciting. I want to check that out. I want to go see the local. We need to support local. And if you want proper food and proper nutrients, that's what we need to do is eat real food from farmers that were in the ground and wasn't pulled from 3 days ago from far, far, far away. I think this is cool. It's going to support our farmers. And if anything would ever happen, you want to be friends with farmers. So
we'll start a new group, Friends of Farmers. It's probably already out there.
That's a good idea.
Friends of Farmers.
That's all they're talking about here.
Great ring to it, actually. And we do need to support local. Like you said, even the transportation of our food coming from whatever countries, right? Like if you're into the carbon whole thing of, trying to
Save the earth.
yeah, exactly. And you know, that just makes a lot more sense to have food, it's grown local and doesn't have to come all that way. And,
No.
And you're supporting the economy as well, because these farmers live here, they make money. Obviously, I would hope they would from their products, and you benefit from the health. Health wise, you benefit as well. And that's when again? On where?
That is on Thursdays from 2 to 6 and Saturdays from 9 to 2.
Okay, and it's where again? On corner of Regent? Is it downtown?
Yeah. Corner of York Street and Paris on Thursday from 2 to 6, and on Elgin Street location at the Via Rail on Saturday from 9 to 2.
So two
it's in
different
two
locations.
different locations.
2 different times, 2 different days. Or is it the same days?
Yep. Nope, same different. Thursdays and Saturdays. Thursdays, York Street and Paris at that parking lot. And then on Saturdays from 9 to 2, Elgin Street and Via Rail.
Cool. And that's so right across from Bell Park with the big parking lot there. That's on the corner of York and Paris. And then downtown at the old Via Rail station right across from Sudbury Arena. And get out and support local. I'm just going to still got to fire this thing up here.
What's the next article we should talk about?
Oh, this is a good one. So Canada's population will hit a record 40 million today.
Oh,
Says
wow.
StatsCan. We're going to reach the 40 million mark in Canada. It's always been in the 30 millions as far as I have always been aware of our population, or been alive possibly in the 30 millions. And so now we're hitting a new milestone over the 40 million mark. What are some of the reasons you think
Before 3 p.m. Eastern time.
So they give the
They even have a time.
So today at 3 p.m.?
Yeah. They say this is an exciting milestone from Canada. Chief Statistic Anil Arora said, "It is a strong signal that Canada remains a dynamic and welcoming country full of potential as we head into Canada Day. This is certainly cause for celebration." So Canada continues to lead the G7 in population growth, StatCan says, with the country adding more than 1 million people between January 2021 and 2022 for the most ever in a single year. Wow. Last year's annual population growth was 2.7% in the highest of records since 1957, when it was 3.3%. At that time, a high number of births occurred during the post-war baby boom. Based on current projections, StatCan says Canada's population could reach 50 million by 2043. Oh my gosh, to imagine how the world's going to look in 2043. Sooner
Crazy.
than previously estimated. I really hope things have changed by then. Permanent and temporary migration is largely driving the latest trend. Both accounted for 96% of all growth in 2022. Okay, I was wondering, how are we growing so much? And it's
People aren't having lots of kids, put it that way. That's not the reason
migration.
why it's growing, for sure, yes. Unprecedented in history, for sure. Yes.
It says that the country's indigenous
Indigenous?
indigenous population has risen 9.4%. So much faster than the 5.3% over the same period. So that's pretty cool.
And I can almost guarantee you that's not from immigration. So that's just from, having babies and naturally growing. So
Having
9% growth. So it sounds like they might be having babies at a higher rate than the rest of the country, kind of thing. So that's always a good. I remember Quebec used to give oodles of money to help people make the decision to have more kids, right? And I'm not sure if they still do that or not, but they wanted to encourage the population in Quebec for a while, and definitely, a lot of other places have done that, and some places have discouraged having children. I know China had the one-child policy for many, many years because they felt they had too many people. And speaking of Indigenous populations, this was interesting when I saw this. Science North to offer Indigenous people permanent free admission into Science North.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now they're going to have to let a lot more people in because they're growing at a 9%, population growth. So they're going to be giving away way more free tickets in the future. And a lot of comments coming in from that. Not all favorable either for that particular
I
decision.
thought we were like staying away from being racist or
No.
why should a certain type of person be allowed different things than another type of person?
Yeah. So one person, Judy, says, "Oh, that's not prejudice." And Karen says, "Unbelievable!" Exclamation point. And I think someone took exception to that and says, "What's so unbelievable? Please say." I think they wanted to get into a bit of a debate about that one.
There's different ways you can do it, Aaron, without making it like this, where your community has an alignment with Science North, where they get, because if you're part of ballet, for example, you get a free membership. So there's different ways of doing it. So I don't know. Maybe I'm taking my word back because, how come ballet employees go to Science North for free? This is not, but I know it used to be a thing in the past.
Do Valley employees get in free? Do Valley employees get in free?
Used to get free tickets. I know some organizations get free passes. Like Lynn Perot, she gets a free family pass every year because she works somewhere. So that company has obviously paid into a type of membership. Yeah.
As far as I know, Science North doesn't make money anyways, so they could probably just give free tickets to everybody. It's kind of like it's a government thing. It's under the government, so they don't need to make money because they have an endless supply of money coming in. So there's a lot of high-paid jobs at Science North and Dynamic Earth, a lot of administration, a lot of huge salaries. And I'm sure if you looked at their books and you saw, are they making money or losing money, it would be very obvious they're losing tons of money year over year, right?
Right.
So that's just the way government operates. Usually they lose lots of money, and it makes you think those are the people running our country, right? And when they run something, they usually run at a deficit and they lose money. So, but yet we keep allowing them to run our country. It's just weird, whether it's our province, our country, our city. Big government to me, and it's historically proven, if you want to look into that, if they do run things and make money off them, then show me those things. But it's usually like Air Canada, whatever it is that they're gonna run. If it's a business, it's usually losing money, and Science North is no exception. Alan says it's a 10% discount for a lot of people. In the past, most Canada Day have free admission. Yeah. Like I said, they're not there to make money. And they're not accountable to anybody because it's government, right? Government's not accountable, which is an oxymoron because it doesn't make any sense. They should be the most accountable out there. But no, it's all of our tax money and no one's accountable with our tax money. Sudbury, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sudbury firefighters ratify a new contract. So that's interesting. And I think I got the story up here. I have two different, like I said, windows open with all kinds of different stories going on. And it's not going to be on there.
A new 5-year contract that includes enhancements.
So it's on this one now.
Is that the article you're talking about? It's a video?
No, it's not a video, but
okay.
There it is. Volunteer firefighters with the City of Greater Sudbury have a new contract. It was the last story. You go through everything, and it's the last one I went to. So it's just the way things go. Volunteer firefighters with the City of Greater Sudbury have a new contract. Ontario Volunteer Firefighters Association, Local 920, has ratified a new 5-year collective agreement the union announced on June 14th. The vote concluded June the 12th with 94% of the members in support. City councillors approved the settlement during the June 13th council meeting. The contract covers the period of January 1st, 2020, all the way to December 31st, 2024. The deal includes several changes for members. For one, the city will spend more on firefighting training, increase the amount of training time firefighters can claim for the 6 hours to 12, and yearly retention bonus to increase from $100 to $150 for those with more than 5 years service. The volunteer honorarium was also increased by 2%. And a spokesperson for the union said negotiations were prolonged, and one of the primary causes was the regulation introduced by the province of Ontario in 2022 that requires all firefighters in Ontario to be trained to a new provincial standard. And that's what Mike Perron was talking about when he was on the show. That was one of the reasons why we lost a lot of our firefighters here, was because of that new provincial mandate to have them more trained than they've ever been.
But did he talk about why? What was the reason behind this new training?
It's always safety reasons.
But why? Have firefighters died? Have they not known what to do during a fire? Was there an incident?
Yeah, those are questions I would have too, is what are the reasons for the increased training? Yeah, was a lot of things going bad a lot of the time, right? So we don't know. But we know things are getting, when it's government, things get more and more regulated, more and more red tape, and you think, well, good, because we need it, right? Because we're safer now.
Oh, yeah. We need a guy in the office that has no clue about a fire to tell the fire guys that they need more training. But I'm just assuming it could be an association that is an expert and believes that there's a need for this. But if it's causing so many firefighters to quit their job and or not become a firefighter, that's kind of a problem. Yet you could become a volunteer, and maybe that's why they don't want to pay.
It's always
people
political
to be a firefighter, because
there's always agendas.
They don't have to pay you.
There's always agendas, whether it's associations fighting for things, or there's unions, or there's political, someone in politics, with an agenda. There's always, reasons for things, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it seems like our society just gets over and over regulated. It's like I was driving over a bridge. It's going to take 2 years. It used to be a 1-lane bridge in the valley, and it took them a whole year to make a new bridge over a creek. A whole year, and it's still not paved. So they're going to take this whole year, I think, to do the finishing touches to it and pave it. I bet you any money it's going to take altogether 2 years to do a little wee tiny bridge over a creek. I bet you in China they could do that in 1 day and be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They built
I'm
a
not
hospital,
a fan.
I think, in 3 days.
7 days or 3 days. Yeah. I'm not a fan of that type of thing, that having no regulations and having a communist party dictating in an unsafe environment. But at the same time, I think we've gone overboard. I think the pendulum has totally swung way too far in terms of these types of things. So that's just my opinion. If it takes you
Aaron,
2 years to make a bridge over a
I bet
creek,
you if we spoke to the I bet you if we spoke to the owner of Dominion Construction, he'll say, well, actually, it's the city that hasn't approved a permit or needs some writing or needs an engineer. And to get an engineer, it takes forever because they're backlog and blah, 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 blah. It's just a holdup of paperwork. You know what, Aaron? I am so embarrassed of being a Sudbury citizen today of our roads. Our roads are absolutely disgusting, and we should be appalled. We should be appalled. It is gross. It is disgusting. It's just, we are a pretty rich community. We're a mining town, and our average income is quite high compared to other communities of our population, and it is disgusting. Our roads are gross, and we should just demand, I don't even know why, and they just keep fixing the cracks, and then all the slow people driving the fast lane, it just makes people so upset. It's just so disgusting. I'm disgusted, Aaron.
And all the slow people driving the fast lane. I love how you just slipped that into the other side. I think everyone's with you on that. The idea that we're a rich city and we make a lot of money. Our median income is high, and there's a lot of money coming out of the ground, and we have the means. And then you say the slow people driving the fast lane.
It just pisses people off.
It's true. Two different
Get
subjects
back in
altogether.
Slow lane, but there's too many potholes in the slow lane. So
okay.
I was with my mom, and I'm like, Mom, why are you in the fast lane? She's like, there's too many potholes on the left, on the right. She's like, there's nobody behind me. I'll move. I'm like, okay, well, at least you're moving. Because, guys, I need people driving me around lately. So I shouldn't really complain about my drivers driving.
That's funny. Now I get the connection. So because of the potholes, people are driving that should be in the slow lane in the fast lane. Yeah. Or people look like they're inebriated or something, all trying to dodge all the potholes and getting pulled over, right? How many of you had today? None. Why were you driving so erratically? Well, trying to save my car from front end work and blowing a tire or two in the potholes. So yeah, no, it's true. It is unacceptable. And there are ways to properly pave a road. You got to dig down a little deeper than what we're doing. You have to use better materials than what have been used. And I don't care how big the trucks are and the frost and all this stuff. You can do a better job building the roads in the first place. And that's really, we're talking about accountability, right? And it's, there is no accountability there. But the city just
Steven
recently
says, to my comment, I said the comment how volunteer firefighters probably don't get paid. And he says, well, they do get paid. But so anyways, I was wrong about that. But they probably don't get paid as much as a full-time firefighter. And then they don't get the bonus, or not the bonus, but the pension. And I'm sure it's more expensive to have a full-time firefighter than a volunteer firefighter.
Way
but that's
more.
good that they still get paid.
And they do. And
So
in that
thanks,
story,
Stephen,
it
for
says,
that
100, it's increased to $150 instead of 100 and stuff like that. And they got a 2% raise on the stipend. They get like hey, you're volunteering. However, we're going to give you a little bit for being on call. We're going to give a little bit per call that you get, if bigger calls than others, you're going to get a little bit more. But no, for the kind of work you do, and you got to be on call all the time, you got to get up all hours a night, and you work a full-time job usually, they really do need to pay you something in order to keep volunteers. And all the training, tons of training you have to take in order to be a volunteer. And now more training because of the provincial standards were raised.
You are also on call, and you might have a family and can't go camping. You
Correct.
can't go do these activities because you're on call. So
exactly.
they should be getting reimbursed,
and they are.
some type of payment. So
And
that's
they
great.
are, but not tons, right? It's just enough to kind of keep them there. And it is a service. You are a volunteer, and you're doing that. You're serving your community. Did you know that
And they should
Go ahead.
be rewarded. Maybe
They
not
are.
even monetary, other ways.
Oh, okay, for sure. Yes, definitely. I would say, and more appreciate, instead of saying you need more training, how about we need to give you free passes to Science North or something like that? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Exactly. Greater Sudbury
Free
to
parking.
purchase the Lido Hotel. Speaking of free parking, they're going to demolish the Lido Hotel and they're going to turn it into a parking lot. At the
Which
cost
hotel?
of $900,000, the Lido Hotel, which is kitty corner to the Sudbury Arena. It's that kind of, it's right between the Sudbury Arena and the Samaritan Center on Elgin Street. It's an old building. It's an old hotel.
Oh yeah, that's not even really being used, is it?
Yeah, it's housing. There's apartments in there and stuff. And
okay.
so we're going to lose some units in the city. And they're going to, turn it into a parking lot, not a parking structure. There's not much square footage on the ground of that building for parking. Like you may get,
Are people gonna lose their
30
houses?
parking spots. Yeah, people will have to lose their apartments that they live in the Lido for sure. Yep. The mayor announced it on his LinkedIn. That's where I first saw it, and shared it on our Sudbury News and then page, and then other news outlets picked it up locally after that. Let's see, tons of comments. I'm just putting them up on the screen as we continue to.
Steven says, I
move
traveled
along.
across Sweden and Norway a couple years ago, and the roads were amazing. The cold weather changeability cannot be the reason for Sudbury's bad roads.
It's not. I remember listening to CBC, and there was a professional they were interviewing about, I think it's from the University of Guelph or something like that, and he specializes in northern roads in particular. And the person interviewing him on CBC basically told him, we got all these big trucks and we got the frost. That's why we have such terrible roads in Sudbury. And this person isn't political. He's not from Sudbury. He has nothing to lose. He's just an expert when it comes to road construction. He's an engineer. And he stopped the guy and he said, what do you mean? That's not the reason why you have bad roads. And the guy's like, what do you mean? He goes, it's all in the way you build them. He goes, there's roads way up in the Northwest Territories and things that he's been involved with that that have bigger trucks than ours, more trucks than ours, and colder weather than us, and you name it, and blah, 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 blah. And their roads last, and they're in good shape, and blah, blah, blah. And he said what you have to do in order to make a good road, how much you have to dig down, what kind of material you have to use to pack down after you've dug down so much, and then all the amount of inches of this and the feet of that, and that's a road, and you got to use this kind of material. Now, I think we've cut so many corners, and I think there's been a little bit of corruption, a little bit of that C word.
Instead of this thick, it's this thick, but yet we pay for this much.
You pay for that much, exactly. And there's no accountability. He said the people who build the roads need to be accountable for those roads. So it's not the city's expense when they deteriorate.
Where they're
the
warranted.
Company. Yeah, they're warranted, exactly. So anyways, the CBC announcer and person doing the interview was speechless after that. He was like, it was almost like he was 8 years old and was told there was no Santa or something, and it was proven to him. So it was really interesting. So the city is going to demolish the Lido Hotel, and they're going to make that into parking. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this, but Natalie Labe sent me a voice note about the... Oh, can you hear this?
Oh, yeah, it's been condemned since there was a fire, so there's no one living in it. Basically, is her point, correct?
So that's great that nobody's going to lose their house.
There you go. There was a fire. There was a fire recently. Yes, that's true. And so the people were already displaced out of the building. So thanks, Natalie, for that. Much appreciated. And thanks for giving the voicemail and not texting while you're driving. We know that definitely could end up in a not good place. So thanks for that.
And I love this. Like, this is a community news talk show. This is what we're doing. We are talking about things. I'm not an expert. I just have opinions.
No. And we don't have any nefarious reason for having the show. It's not like we're trying to push some kind of, we have some kind of agenda or something, and we're trying to accomplish anything other than what you just said. And so having real information is not like we wanted to. We're not like we're from the homeless association of Sudbury to kind of add. We're not. We're not
part of anything. We're not associated with any party, with anybody. So it's great to have people like Natalie and other people that are like, oh, actually, that's wrong. Okay, great. That's awesome.
Yeah, we really appreciate that.
This is how we get educated, is by having a conversation and someone else will share their opinion. And it's great. This is what this is all about.
And I guess we're going to have a really good show on Monday as well, because we're going to talk about Dominic Giroux, the last few days that he's had. And what he's out of here. Dominic Giroux, as much as he's loved from the people of Greater Sudbury, it'll be sad. I'm sure a lot of people are sad to see Dominic Giroux, the former president of LU and the now former president, CEO of HSN, leave our city. So we'll talk more about that on Monday and much, much more. Thanks again, Nick, for being with us today. Got to run now. We have a weekend to get to. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back same time, same place, God willing, on Monday. Have a very safe and wonderful weekend. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.